Engineering, KPR Institute of Engineering and Technology, Coimbatore. I welcome you all for this wonderful session is going to be held now for the Tech Webinar Series 2. Today's session is Emerging Trends in Makeshift Structures, which is going to be delivered by Dr. R. Siva Chidambaram sir. He is a scientist cum assistant professor in CSIR Central Building Research Institute, Roorkee. He completed his PhD degree in structural dynamics from Indian Institute of Technology, Roorkee in 2016 under MHRD fellowship. Earlier, he worked as an assistant engineer in East Coast Construction Industries Limited, Chennai. He has published more than 17 research articles in reputed journals. Under his guidance, 2 research scholars are pursuing their PhD degree. He has delivered around 30 guest lectures so far. Also, he is acting as an advisory board member in various courses and conferences. He has received Best Technology Award in the year 2020. He has published 3 patents in his area of research. He has innovated 6 technology concepts related to pre-engineering concepts and digital concrete for 3D printing. So today's session, he is going to deliver in the topic of on emerging trends in makeshift structures. See, before handing over the session to sir, I would like to give a small instructions to the audience. Say, I request all the audience to mute your microphone. Please mute your microphone, as well as I request you to don't present your screen since it is completely give the disturbances to the presenter as well as the other participants. And those who couldn't view the presentation, kindly move to the people. It will be there on the right top corner. The people column will be there. Please click on it. In that, today's resource person, that is Dr. Siva Chidambaram sir's name will be there. So in that, click on presentation. Please put a pin. Click on pin on the presentation. Okay, on the sir's name, please click it on pin on the presentation. Please mute audio. Please don't present the screen. Kindly cooperate with us. And regarding the certificates, when certificates will be distributed when the tech webinar series gets over, so it will take around 1 week time. Please bear it. And feedback link will be shared at the end of the session. Please don't ask these questions in the chat columns. If there is any technical issues, apart from the certificates and feedback, I request the participants, if there is any technical issues, please enter in the chat box. If you have any queries related to the today's topic, kindly enter in the chat box, or else you can talk at the end of the session. If you have any queries, you can chat in the chat box. It will be noted at the end of the session and we will ask it. That's not an issue. So your kind cooperation is highly appreciated. Please cooperate with us. Since it's a webinar, so everybody is watching through online platform. So thank you. So now I handed over the session to Dr. R. Siva Chidambaram sir. Sir, you can proceed now.
Thank you, madam. Thank you for the brief introduction about me, about the presentation topic. So very good morning to everyone.
Sir, sorry for the disturbance. Kindly do the full screen view, sir.
Okay. So very good morning to everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So today the topic of presentation is emerging trends in makeshift structures. So in this presentation, I have used many images from internet sources and a few images from articles and patents. So it has no commercial values, just to promoting, not we are not promoting anything, just for educational purposes. Let us start the presentation with a small introduction about what is makeshift structure. Basically, this structure is comes to game whenever some like problem happens everywhere across the world. If any earthquake occurs, or like now we are facing a very big trouble because of Corona, and we need a lot of hospital facilities to isolate the patients, to quarantine them, and to treat them. So we are running out of hospital spaces. So instead of accommodating all the isolated patients at the hospital, they can be isolated somewhere else where we have a large amount of spaces using these kind of makeshift structures. So makeshift structure is nothing but a small structure which is economically viable structure, and it can be installed wherever you want in a very immediate manner. And it's not a laborious one, so there is no need for high technical versions to implement those technologies. So each and every makeshift structure has its own sequence of opening, sequence of folding, sequence of collapse, etc., etc. things. Okay, so we have to follow those instructions to erect the makeshift structures wherever we need. Basically, in this image, you can see there are two structures are existing. One is first one is normal tent. Second one is also a normal tent. But the difference is second one is it's like engineered, whereas we have steel frames, and then we have entirely covered using any sheets. If you want to have a tarpaulin, you can use, or if you want to use some plastic sheet, you can use, or PVC coated sheet, you can use anything. It's up to our feasibility and availability. In the makeshift structure, we have to ensure one thing, that the material which we are going to use to make the structure should be available locally. The reason is, suppose if I'm residing in Himalayan area, if I want to make a makeshift structure at a particular point of hill stations, the material should be easily transportable. That's very, very important. That's very, very important one. So transportable and light in weight and durable, and should be available locally, so that I can able to procure in a large amount instead of importing from some other districts or some other states, because now you can see it's crossing a district border itself is very difficult. In such circumstance, if I want to bring some material from other districts, it is very difficult now to procure. So instead, if I have materials in my own districts and in my own town, so that it will be very easy for us to install the things. So makeshift means I can able to fabricate a structure at a particular point. After its requirement is getting fulfilled, then I can able to reset that particular point to some other places or to my storing unit. Whenever it's required, I can able to take it back and I can able to install at a particular place where it is exactly required. That's a exact meaning for makeshift structures. Prefabricated structures are one of its kind, I can say. Example, in 1999 in Turkey there was an earthquake, and there are a lot of many structures were completely collapsed, including the prefabricated structures, and we lost a lot of lives during this earthquake. But the best part of this is, after the earthquake, the post-earthquake studies says that we have done, there are a lot of industrial structures has been constructed using precast, and prefabricated has been failed, etc., etc. thing. But the very big thing is, immediately after the earthquake, they have made a temporary shelter using the prefabricated units. And the first image shows that normal tent unit. The second image shows that prefabricated unit using some wall panel based materials. Okay, so this is not a permanent thing, but it is semi-permanent, and it will give you wonderful comfort compared to the prior image, the prior image shows that normal tent using some cloths. Whereas the second image shows that prefabricated structures with certain comfortness, so we can accommodate people, because it will take too much of time to come out of any pandemic kind of things, so or any disasters. So up to that particular time span, say 1 year or 2 years, I have to accommodate those people who were actually exist in wonderful structures. Due to earthquakes, they have lost their building, they become homeless. If I want to accommodate them in a tent structure for a temporary period of 10 days or 2 weeks, a month, it's fine. But if I want to accommodate them for a period of 1 year or 2 years, I need some structure which is it's not permanent, as well as it should be semi-permanent, and it should give perfect comfortness to them. So the second image shows that prefabricated structures, because the earthquake shows prefabricated structures were failed. Some of them will survive also. But again, we have to go for these kind of options because we don't have alternate options to make a structure in a very fastest way. So importance of makeshift structure is it should be light and weight, easy to assemble, transportable, and economical, and durable for multiple purpose. Because now we have very critical situations. Now we are going to install a lot of structure, for example, and after certain months, if our problem is solved, then we are not going to use those structures everywhere. So it will be stored in a particular storage unit. Whenever it's required, we will take the structures out and we will install it. So my material which I'm going to use to fabricate those structures should be durable for multiple uses. Next one is feasible connection mechanism, which means basically in makeshift structures, connections are playing important role in connecting two elements, transferring the force in between the elements and everything. So those connection mechanisms should be feasible. Otherwise, no, if anything happens while transporting, at the time of installation, if I face any difficulty in installing the structure, I have to immediately replace the particular impaired point. Otherwise, I have to repair the impaired portions using the locally available material. So mechanisms should be easily available and feasible. That's another point. And erection should not take too much of time. That's another important thing. If my erection takes too much of time, if it is a time consuming, I can't make the structure in a very rapid time, and I can't accommodate those people. Because people means it's not only adult persons, maybe child or very old persons. We can't keep them in under hot sun or under humid climate or under any winter climate. So we have to accommodate them very in a rapid time, no time I can say. So my fabrications and erection methodology should be very easy so that it will save a lot of time for me. So let me start with a small idea like temporary shelter using PVC pipes and joints. So we know PVC pipes, there are no need of any engineered persons to erect this kind of structures. So we know the PVC pipes are one very durable material, and especially not for that electrical PVC pipes. Basically, we have PVC pipes for pipelines, especially for underwater pipelines. That is very tough material. So you can see that the tough material, the tough pipes can be used for fabricating a structure. Now we have connecting systems. Like the third image you can see, I have elbows, 3 elbows, 4 elbows, 5 elbows, plus etc. Different type of joints with different inclinations. These kind of connections can be used to integrate using PVC pipes. So these PVC pipes can be used with this kind of connections to make a structure. It is very simple. Everybody knows. Now, I need a temporary structures to accommodate, for example, 10 to 15 persons. So immediately I can make a shelter out of using PVC pipes. So PVC pipe is generally available material everywhere, and connecting elbows are also available. Just we have to connect it to make a shell, and then can be covered using any sheets, any tarpaulin sheets. If you are running out of sheets, you can use normal fabrics. If it is not a rainy season, then you can use normal sheets to accommodate those people. So this is a few examples you can see. Now they have made a shell, the frame. Shell means the frame using PVC pipes of different shapes. You can see it's not like normal, like defined shape. You can make rectangles out of it, square out of it, and a hat like these curved shapes, domes. Obviously, we can make. It has to be perfectly anchored with the ground. That's one of the important points because it is not very stable structures. Even during huge wind, it may completely flow off. So we have to save. We have to we have to make a lot of precautionary measures to anchor these kind of structures with the ground. We are not going to use these structures for this kind of structures for multiple story. Just only to only for single story. You can see here they have used different type of cloths. And if you want to make doors, there is no need for doors also. You can use zipper kind of material. So zip it and unzip it. You can see the fourth image. There is a window opening with the zipper provisions, so that if I want to open, I can open, and if I want to close, I can close it. Whereas the last, you can see a dome kind of structure. Dome is generally good for your wind resistant. So it is so in that type we can construct, we can fabricate to resist certain amount of wind forces even with PVC structures. So it is very easy to assemble, and anywhere if you want to fabricate, you can fabricate, and if whatever the cloths you have, you can use it. There is no defined cloths, there is no defined mechanism in this case. Only thing is you have to see the rigidity by introducing more number of columns and bracings, by introducing in horizontal as well as in diagonal way if possible. We can increase the stability of the structure, so that we can say that yeah, this is not only a simple phenomenon, it can able to resist certain amount of forces during any wind or some during handling also it may fail. So to avoid that kind of failures, we can use some horizontal bracings like this, so that will add some stability to your structures. The next one is panel-based constructions. This is like as I mentioned in the previous cases, this is kind of semi-permanent structures, and these wall panel generally are made up of cement plaster boards or corrugated steel sheets, or like PVC coated steel sheets, or composite made from aluminum as well as plastics, and then fiber boards, etc. things. But the internal core portions is generally made up of expanded polystyrene material or polyurethane foams. Because we are not going to use 230 mm thickness wall panel. We are going to use 50 mm to 75 mm wall panel. So what will happen if we reduce the wall thickness? We may lose thermal comfort, basically in our conventional material. That's why in the past we used to have 600 mm wide wall thickness in our ancient structures. Whereas now we are using 230 mm wall thickness. Even nowadays in multi-storied apartments, we have reduced the wall thickness by introducing this kind of wall panels. So these kind of wall panels are easily available in the many locations, and it is available with connecting mechanisms. It's not a simple wall panel. It is a wall panel having connection mechanisms, many connection mechanisms. Among them are very famous. It's like let me show. This is called tank and groove. Here you have to insert a groove like this. After fixing the thing, you can grout it completely by using some grouting materials made up of some polymer based, epoxy based, or cement based also. Okay, so now what will happen after grouting it? It will become like this. If you want to introduce window, you can introduce. If you want to introduce door, you can introduce. So it is very easy to install. In a daytime, you can install the structure. To get a completed structures, we may need a week time maximum. 2-3 days, maybe we can easily complete the entire structures. And this wall panels not only can be used for a lone story, it can be used for multi-story building also. If you have external moment resistance frame mechanism, then you can use these kind of wall panels for multi-storied structures also. Multi-storied structure means how can it be a temporary structures? There will be a question. So now just imagine we have a steel sections in and around the disaster-prone zone. I can bring the steel frames. I can design and I can make a G+1 or G+2, and immediately it can be erected by using some welding and bolting technologies. So it is quite rapid. So in such a circumstance, instead of going for a conventional material for infill, I can use these kind of materials. Now you can see this is one of the wonderful structure made from lightweight panel-based constructions. Okay, lightweight panel-based means it's similar to the panel I have discussed in the former slide. This is made from polyurethane foam as a core material. Core material will always have a polyurethane foam or EPS or foam concrete, anything. It's less dense, so that it will be easy to transport. And because in a lorry, if I'm using a truck or lorry, I can be able to transport the material for the entire building. If I can able to transport material for the entire building construction using a single truck, that will save a lot of time for me. And I can able to make very fast for me.
For example, light will be the base of the construction, and the depth will be based on the.
Now you can see this is a different type of wall panel, and made using EPS, PU foams, glass rules, and foamed concrete. And externally and internally, it will be covered with some durable materials such as corrugated sheets and plywood boards, or cement plaster boards, or fiber boards, etc. Reason for corrugated means corrugation will give you additional stiffness to your wall panel instead of a plain sheet. So generally, when they use corrugated sheets, external surface will be of corrugated portions and internal surface will be of smooth portions. Because internally, inside the building, we don't want to see those kind of corrugated portions. That will not give much more aesthetical purpose. So that's why they are using plain surface inside the panel structures, whereas the external portions will have a corrugated. So basically, corrugated portions will give you wonderful amount of stiffness. So to take the advantage of that. Now you can see, so this is a kind of framed structure they are making, and now they are using infills as this kind of wall panel materials. So now it will be very rapid time, in a rapid manner we can construct. Otherwise, it will take too much of time, and we use locally available materials like conventional materials using brick, cement, concrete, etc. Next one is that collapsible structures. Collapsible means somehow we are trying to save space. That's our main purpose. For example, in this image, you can see I have shown you two chairs. This is already every people know. This is called foldable chair, which means after the need completes, we can fold the chair and we can store it in somewhere locations. So this won't accommodate large amount of space. If we are running out of spaces in our house, we have to use this kind of foldable chairs so that after its purpose completes, and we can fold it and we can keep it somewhere so that I can able to utilize the existing space. The same phenomena we are going to use to make structures out of it, so that I can able to utilize many this kind of ideas to make structures. Can you see me now? Can you see me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now, see, this is a small wooden piece I have. This is you can see. Can you find anything about this? Like, so this is we have made like a small. If I unfold it like this, I can able to make a pyramid kind of shape. If I fold it, it's just simply a small plain frame element. If I unfold it, I can able to make a pyramid shape kind of element, a triangle element. So if I cover the entire thing using a cloth, so this will become a tent kind of shape. Okay. So this is why this kind of collapsible mechanism is very, very popular in making structures out of it. So this is a temporary structure if you want to make, and we can make it and then we can close it. It can be transported to a particular places. Similarly, many mechanisms you would have seen this kind of things in your homes. This is generally made for dustbin. Okay, this is like this is a dustbin. If you open it like this, I can make a structure. So now I can cover it. So now this is a three-dimensional structure. You can see, and after its purpose gets completed, it can be used for. It can be folded like this. Now that will fold like this. So if I have, see, this is another interesting example. This is the calendar everyone used to have. If you see it in this shape, it is not going to be stable. If you open it, it will become very stable. So this is called a collapsible mechanism. And now, if you say the shape, I can use this particular shape for to make any temporary structures. Now let us go to the presentation. Can you see my presentation now? Now, there are many type of collapsible structures we have. Many invention has been made to make collapsible structures using different type of materials. That's why before entering into a temporary shelter, we should know about different type of materials available in sites. So let us go for some collapsible mechanisms. Now you can see here. So now the first image says that this is how the elevation of a structure will be. But wherever you have seen some cuts, there they have used hinges. If you are seeing me, you can see I'm showing you some hinge. These kind of hinges can be used. These kind of hinges can be used to make a structure foldable. Simple hinges. So these hinges are generally available everywhere. So you can see in the first image, they have the elevation of this, and the second image, they have made a lot of cuts in the structure, and they have used a lot of hinges at the cut point, so it can be foldable like this. The third image shows that the structure is completely folded. So now a full-scale structure becomes very small structures, and it can be erectable wherever you want, and it can be easily transportable because these structures are light in weight, and it is easily erectable, so anybody can do the erections. And you can see the fourth image. They have clearly schematically explained how to erect these kind of structures at the site locations. One of the example of this. Now, this the first one I have shown you is that dustbin and dustbin kind of structure. This is generally used for tent structures in the people, those who are going for trekkings, and they used to use this kind of structures, especially in hilly region. If you want to have, if you want to transport material, it is very difficult to transport some, even very difficult to transport some steel frames also. But if I have small structures like this, we can easily transport to a hilly region so that people can be accommodated in the structures. The next one you can see the same slide. This is called a collapsible scissor kind of structures. This is a scissor clip. We can people know about it. Scissor clip. If you can see me, I'm showing you this small arrangement. You can see this is the square in shape. Okay, and the 4 points I have used bolts. If I collapse it, it becomes like this. If I open it, it becomes a square. If I further open it, I can able to elongate the length. And if I collapse it, it can extendable in vertical direction. So in vertical as well as in horizontal direction, I can able to collapse like this. So these kind of mechanisms is not a new mechanism. It is a very old mechanisms, and these kind of mechanisms can be effectively used in our civil structures to make collapsible. So this is how they have made collapsible structures. So this is kind of structures can be collapsible, and it can be converted. It looks like it's a very big structure, but if you collapse it, it will become 1 feet by 1 feet structures. So it can be easily transportable. So generally, collapsible structures are dealing with only frame elements, so that people can be easily transportable. They are not bothering about external covering. So covering can be used using some any tarpaulin sheets or any PVC sheets or plastic sheet, whatever sheets are available. So that those sheets also can be foldable, and it can be transportable in a large amount of quantity. Okay, that's a primary thing. So now this is a similar kind of thing I can show you. So you can see now the first image shows that open structure, whereas the second image shows that how they are unfolding it. Third one is how after completely folding, the structure becomes like a small element. So now it can be transportable everywhere. So now when you use this kind of transportable structures in a single truck, you can accommodate say I can say 100 small units can be transportable. So if you can able to transport at least 50 units to a particular place using a single truck, it is a huge savings, time saving, and it's a huge cost savings for us. So we can provide immediate shelter to the people or to the needy. So now this is one of the very famous invention. They are using this kind of shipment containers to make structures out of it. So before going into a presentation, I would like to show you some videos. These videos are already available in YouTube, so you can see those things. Let me show you.
Sir, I'm sorry to disturb you. This is Dr. Kannani. There actually some disturbances
Yes.
are coming from your side, sir. Somebody is, I think they are chatting.
From my side.
Yes, sir. All other participants are in mute only.
Okay, okay. I will try to rectify
Because
that.
it's, your audio is not clear because of that. Thank you, sir.
Okay, my audio is not clear. Okay, sure. Can you see this video now? Can you see this video?
No, sir.
No, sir. Yeah.
Can you
Yes,
see?
sir.
Yeah,
Yes,
no.
sir. Yeah, now it's showing.
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Okay, is it visible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. So the main container structure is a main unit for them that will take all the forces. So the remaining foldable and unfoldable units are connected with the main container structures. So the container is the main solid unit, and now they have installed a lot of extendable units made from lightweight materials. Now you can see how they are installing. They don't want any frames or cranes or any equipment or any instruments to install these kind of structures. It is very easy to install. So the main body is made from container, and the extendable unit has been attached with those containers, and it can be easily erectable. So now you have seen. Can you see the presentation now?
Case studies. So if you have a group, you have your group of teachers, maybe you have met some.
So now those kind of containers can be easily transportable to the site. Can you? Am I audible? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So those kind of container structures, but in this container structures, it is very stable and it will give you wonderful comfort to you. And you should know a lot of folding mechanisms. Folding mechanism is must. Foldable steps, foldable beds. So you can see a lot of folding mechanisms in internet sources. How we have to utilize the existing space, and how can be used in a wide way. Like for example, if I can able to use a small container, this small container can be extendable to a large space building. So these kind of buildings can be used for hospital purposes, or so this will give you wonderful comfortness, in which you can use air conditioner, whatever you want to use, you can use. This is like as normal to your house only, but it is light and weight. The main body, the central body, is made from container. The container is actually, it's like expired container for the shipment purpose. So those containers can be remodeled into like this, and it can be used for temporary shelters kind of things. Now, I have shown you some video of folding and unfolding. Folding and unfolding is a wonderful mechanisms. So you can fold and unfold any kind of buildings anywhere. The thing is, you need some additional instrumentation facilities like crane or any jack system to fold and unfold the structures. If you have, you can make n number of structures out of it, because this when you fold it, it will become very small in shape. I will show you another video later. So when you open it, it will become a house. So it is completely based on the need. If you want to have your structure with infill, you can make it. If you don't want to have your structure with infill, you can make only shell or a structure out of it, and you can cover with any existing locally material. Now you can see this is a mechanism developed by Asst. So the first image shows you a folded thing. It can be transported to the site. When you unfold it, it becomes a two building. When you unfold it, you can make two building out of it, out of the small unit. So I can able to accommodate nearly 4 person in this small hut. And this is when you fold it, it becomes 1.5 meter by 1.5 meter size panel size. So it can be transportable. So in a single truck, you can transport nearly 20 to 40 houses, 40 huts, which can be easily transportable and which can be easily erectable. There is no need for crane or nothing. You can simply open and you can install it. Similarly, if you think that sir, I need some more comfort building, you can make a structure like this. See, the first one is the folded unit, and when you unfold it, it becomes a cubical structure. Now, these cubical structures can be filled with any infills, whatever the infill you want, you can use it. It can be locked using some locking mechanisms, and then it will become very stable structure. So this is about small introduction about the foldable and collapsible structures. Now let us go into inflatable structure. Inflatable structure is nothing but you would have seen in many cultural fests. Our childs used to play in inflatable units like a small toy made from huge air balloons, air kind of structures, and in which you can go and jump. And those structures, used to be made like a castle structure or any structures they used to make, a ramp structures they used to make out of it, and we used to enjoy. Our childs used to enjoy. So those structures, those phenomena can be used to make inflatable structures. Inflatable structure is consisting of two external layers. One is internal layer as well as an external layer, and that is made from any PVC based materials, PVC coated materials. And when you remove the air, it can be folded into a small unit. If you fill the air into the particular material, it will become an inflatable structures like this. You can make a dome, you can make any structure out of it. So the first image says that shows, you can see the air has been used only into the truss kind of cavity. Whereas the remaining the shell is nothing but when you open it, automatically it becomes it's a complete structures. There is no need to tie, there is no need to additionally provide some external shelter for this. Nothing is required. If you blow the air, you can make a structure like this. Very simple. And finally, it has to be anchored with the ground surface by using some guy ropes. So it is this is called inflatable structure, and it is not required for. There is no need for flat surface anywhere. If you want to use it, you can use. And the beauty is you can use the air conditioner, anything. So these kind of structures are inflatable units are very easy to transport. If you remove the air, it will become a very small unit. It can be transported to any locations where you can't bring huge, heavyweight materials like hilly area, or if it is in a small island. If you want to transport huge material, it is very difficult to transport steels and wooden materials. Whereas this kind of inflatable structures can be transportable. This is a small introduction for inflatable. Next is container structure. I have already discussed about container. Now, this kind of containers can be used to make semi-permanent structures. You can see the same container has been used, and you can see a lot of structures they are made out of it. You can see these are all semi-permanent structures because these are all expired containers. You can cut, you can make doors and windows. And the beauty of container is it's a very stable, very rigid structure. The external structure has been made using corrugated sheets. It's not like the normal corrugated sheets. It's a corrugated steel sheet in a corrugated form. So we can get a lot of stiffness out of it. So internally it will become very hard. So that is a primary problem we have. And then to address that particular issues, we have to use thermally comfort materials like PU foams or EPS foam. So you can use those kind of infill materials for internal structure, interior structure, more thermal comfort because it is made out of steel. So it will absorb a lot of steel and it will give you too much thermal discomfort. So to avoid that, we have to use thermal comfort material as infill materials. That's it. So these kind of container can be used to make a structure like this. You can see here. These external frames can have the roof frames has been made of aluminiums. Again, it is a foldable units. And after by using the containers, we can make these kind of structures. Now you can see you can make these kind of trusses without. Now we have trussless roof also. That trussless roof will be again made up of corrugated sheets with a different type of corrugation. So that will again add certain stiffness, so we can eliminate the need of truss. So those kind of structures can be supported using our containers. So now you can accommodate people in container, as well as you can use this kind of covered area for storing any kind of units during any catastrophic problems, any disasters, or any pandemic situations. Next one is German hangars. German hangars is a company name. They're using, tents. It's a huge space tent. If you go to any international conferences or if your government is organizing any international science festival, you can see these kind of structures because we need large amount of area to showcase a different type of inventions and scientific instruments and scientific experiments. If you want to showcase, we have to keep in wonderful locations so that people can come and enjoy the experiments and enjoy the visually shown materials. And in such circumstance, if you keep everything in open space, obviously our people, our students will get discomfort. So it will be incorporated in a huge space, and those space will be covered using this kind of tents. These tents are made out of frame structures are made out of steel or aluminium, whatever you want. Again, it is foldable. Again, it is foldable. They have to just open it and they have to install it. And the roof will be made up of PVC coated any steel materials, so that it will be easily foldable, easily fabricatable. And after completing this, we can use air conditioner. If you want, you can use air conditioner, and all these things we can be used. Similar kind of tents we can make. So the bay width will be very large and the length will be very large. If you want to go for 10 meter, we can go for 10 meter width. 60 meter length also you can easily go for it. Nowadays in many locations you can see this kind of tent kind of structures. This is like like a industrial building, but it is a foldable unit, and you can, after completing the main purpose, you can remove the spin materials, and it can be the remaining frame materials can be folded. It can be transported in a truck. Simple. This is the you can see a conference unit is completely made of this kind of tent kind of structures, air conditioned. Similar kind of tents, you can see the first image. It is like our grill doors. Grill doors, how we are opening and closing. Same pattern they are using. Now just imagine we have a grill door, and the grill between two grills I have used some skins. The skin is like foldable. If you want to really imagine this, just in now currently we don't have. If you see a old bus in 1990s, before 1990s I can say, and the window of your buses, old buses, they used to have a folding units. Okay, so this folding units will be locked with at the topmost layer. Whenever rain comes, we can unfold it. Okay, the outer skin is made up of some material which can able to resist the rainy water fluctuations, and internally they used to go for some steel plates. So it is foldable and it is durable also. Same mechanism they can use. So the bottommost point they used to have a rail. So the entire structure will be placed on the rail, and it can be just they will pull the structures. Now, if you can, after pulling the structure up to a certain distance, now your building is ready. Your temporary shelter is ready. This shelter can be used for any purposes as per your needs. Now, I have told you that these kind of structures should be transportable. So, if you are making a structure using heavy weight, then we can't transport the structures. The material should be transportable, or otherwise the entire unit to be transportable using a available truck. So, whenever if you are thinking to do some research in this, always remind one thing: in India we have a limited size for a truck. So whatever we are thinking of it, everything should be accommodatable within the truck. So we have to think about it, and accordingly we have to design and we have to fabricate any units. So material should be lightweight. As already I have shown you, these are the different type of materials being used in making wall panels or infills to the existing structures or to the any foldable structures. If you want to have some infills, you can use this kind of infills. So these infills generally is made up of external sheets are made up of PVC, carbon, etc. etc. Made from EPS. You can see the internally and externally they have a very rigid panel made from any materials. It will act as a heat insulation. Internal materials, some thermal insulating materials made from foam, any materials which provides sound insulation, thermal insulations. So the external temperature may be of different and internal temperature may be of different. Next one is polycarbonate sheets. Polycarbonate sheets are very famous nowadays. It's very durable material, and now we can see many bridges has been covered the external portion of the bridges just as a protective measures. They are instead of using some steel sheet, they are using polycarbonate sheets because it is durable and very tough materials. So these kind of materials are light in weight, and generally these materials used to have some very cellular kind of structures for heat flow. So this will also provide you thermal comfortness up to a certain extent. So these materials can also be used as a shell material for your temporary shelters, because again it is a lightweight, very cheap cost, and it can be transportable in a large number of quantity. And it is especially is very good for temporary structures. Nowadays we are using this kind of sheets for covering car parking, covering bike parking structures, because it is very cheap and it is foldable, and it is like you can convert into any arch kind of shapes also using this. So it is very easy for a fabrication purpose. Instead of going for corrugated sheets, you can go for this also. And this is a small air bubble insulation sheets. You would have seen this kind of air bubbles in for packing purpose. The same packing purpose can be used as a thermally insulated materials also. Again, this is the second one is the coir foam. These kind of foams generally we are using for making some low cost beds. Beds, if you are constructing some temporary hospital, we have to go for bed also. So if you are spending too much amount per bed, it's very difficult for us for the governments also. So we can make use of this kind of foams to make beds as well as thermally insulated materials also. These materials are generally available everywhere, so we can use out of it. And the next one is the PVC wall panels. These materials are, the wall panels used to be in the thickness of 20 mm and 30 mm. And these wall panels used to have internally vacuum space. So internally vacuum space means when the heat flows from the external atmosphere, the internal vacuum space will transmit the heat, and when it comes to the internal surface, the temperature will be of different way. So this will again act as a thermal insulating material for us, and this is durable also. Even for the external covering also we can use of this. So my entire temporary shelter will become a thermally comfort material and very light in weight also. And the next one we are seeing is that this is called PVC coated sheets. In the tents we are using this kind of thing. So it is very useful because it is a durable material. It can be rolled into any, it can be folded, etc. Things can be we can use out of this. So I think I have come to conclusion. Before concluding this presentation, I would like to show you some video, small videos there. So how we are doing the unfolding and folding mechanisms. Let me show you. Can you see the video now? You can see here, this is a complete unit we have made, and we are using just a 3% help to fold it and unfold it. Now they are unfolding the entire unit, so it is a continuous, and you can see after opening it, we have to bolt it somewhere to make the structure more stable, and then it can be seriously connected. N number of structures in horizontal as well as in vertical way we can connect it. You can see it's a continuous unit. We can make more number of units like this. So each and every unit can accommodate certain persons. It can be used as a temporary as well as semi-permanent structures like this. You can see here. Yeah, we have made 2 units out of a single foldable units. So a single folded panel, when you open it, you have made 2 structures out of it. So now these two structures can accommodate at least 4 patients if it is used for a hospital, or if you are using for some other purpose. It is like the size of the thing is 10 feet by 10 feet. So you can imagine 10 feet by 10 feet can be used for any other purposes. Okay. So this is about a small introduction about emerging trends in this temporary structures. By this, I am concluding my presentation. If you have any questions or any queries, feel free to ask me. Let me try to answer this. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. This is Dr. Kanmani from KPRIET. Thank you so much for your wonderful presentation along with the videos. Participants are requested to ask the queries. If you have any queries, you can ask now. Sir, one of the participants in the chat box, she have asked. The participant name is Sneha Maributu. She asked, is it secure and safe during rainy and wind days?
Yeah, that's why I have mentioned. If you want to use those structures to resist some to be used in rainy season, we have to use the shell to be made out of some material which is more durable. And the internal frame can be internal frame, whatever I have shown you, is actually it's very durable also, and it can be used in any stations. But the external shell, which means the shell means that the external covering unit, should be made of durable material to resist or to sustain during rainy season. That's it. Internal frame may be of plastics or like steels, but external unit decides whether it can be used in rainy season or not.
Sir, another participant, he asked, like, is it possible to build multi-story in container structures?
Yes, it is possible. If you are interested, I will show you, because we have developed multi-storied units, and we have applied for pattern also. So this multi-storied unit can, again, affordable thing. I have shown you in one of my slides. I have shown you one small cubicle CBRI developed technology. That is actually multi-storied. We have developed that for G+1, and it can be extended up to G+2 also. But if you are going for multi-storied, it is not going to be made from plastics or any wooden material. It should be made from some stable material, so that I can able to take. It is able to resist the force, because when it comes to a multi-storied, I have to accommodate a lot of things, including steps, including dead loads, including live loads, and wind loads also I have to estimate and everything. So it is possible, and we have already made multi-storied buildings using this kind of concepts, and it is very easy to use also. We can.
Sir, I think Mr. Radhakaran will be satisfied with the answer. I think another question from Mr. Hari Babu. He asked whether this type of work can be suitable for the same multi-story. Sujita ma'am, are you having any question?
Yes, ma'am. One participant have asked, what about the maintenance cost and lifespan of the structure? Sir, which material gives more lifespan?
Again, it depends on you. For example, if you are using PVC pipes are more durable. But You can't reuse continuously, because when you are connecting it, we have to use certain glues to make it very rigid connections. That circumstance, we have to cut it and we have to use it. Suppose if you are using container kind of structures, it is actually equal to a semi-permanent structures, and in many countries they are making container-based buildings, multiple storied buildings using containers. So that is actually equal to a permanent thing. But you know, the infills which we are using to make it very comfort buildings needs to be upgraded after a certain period. So it is more durable, and we can make less maintenance also for whatever the cell structures I have shown you. The PVC coated sheets for tents are actually durable material. It requires no maintenance. You have to perfectly follow certain folding mechanisms. Then it can be easily folded, it can be easily stored, and it can be easily again transported whenever it's required. Because durability of just imagine we have a tarpaulin. Tarpaulin has a wonderful lifespan. It can be used for a longer period also. So up to as if we are using wood, again what will happen? Wood has very less durable compared to steel. Aluminum is a very durable material. So based on the material which we are choosing to make the temporary shelter, decides the lifetime performance or long run performance of the structures.
I think
Sir, another participant have asked, is there any prepared RCC or PCC foundation needed before placing the foldable structure?
Yes, if you are thinking about multiple story, we need some foundation made out of concrete. It may be precast or it may be cast in situ, just to anchor the building. What are the remaining, for example, container structure does not require any foundation, and what are the folded structure I have shown, it does not require any foundation, but it has to be perfectly anchored with the ground using any nailing. We know how to nail. Some nailing unit we have. Otherwise, some anchoring units are available. That anchoring unit can be nailed like this, and it can be when you pull it, it will some anchoring unit will be opened up. So that will give you the popped up mechanism will be closed up, and you can remove the nail. So those nailing mechanism can be used to anchor the ground. The remaining, some structures does not require any foundation also. So if you're going for multi-storied, otherwise steel kind of unit, we need some foundations.
Sir, I have another doubt, sir. I'm Makeshift from KPR, sir.
Yes.
Sir, there is any code available for this type of construction, sir? Or
no, for example, we have certain codes. Like in India, we don't have codes for. For example, if you are using PVC pipes, PVC pipes to be used for different type of purpose, not for the temporary shelters. They are, for example, if you go to any online shopping, you can see to hold the childs. If you have a born baby, like 6 months old baby, if if you want to protect them inside a small unit, we can make some units made up of plastic frames. It will be covered using some cloths. Okay, if you buy those kind of units, there you can find some Euro codes, Euro standards to be followed to fabricate those units. So, and these kind of PVC based units are recommended for agricultural purposes, for especially to make some greenhouse kind of structures. We need to follow certain guidelines. Apart from that, we have to design because whatever the main frame structure we are using made from aluminum or steel structures, we have to estimate the forces, and the joint mechanism should be able to hold the force, and the steel structures, the aluminum structure which we are using should provide certain amount of stability to the structures. So we have to choose certain sections like that, so that we can able to make less weight and a more stable unit. So there are no defined codal procedure for this.
okay, so there is any permissible limits for the stiffness of the material, sir?
Again, that depends on you. Suppose if you are going for a shorter width, for example, say 10 feet, so we can use small size. If you are going for a larger, say 10 meter, 10 meters is huge. 10 meter means how much? You are going for more than 33 feet. There we need large sections. For example, simple example, if you go to industrial structures, there we are not using conventional trusses. There they are using pre-engineered structures having different type of truss structures, where you can see at the roof point, the depth of your section will be very small. When it comes to the edge point, the depth of the section will be very large. Accordingly, we can use those kind of elements can also be used in this case. There are no limitation. Limitation is up to you.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Any other question?
Any other queries? Too many queries displayed on the chat box, sir, actually. So I will read it.
And thank you all the viewers. I hope you
Another question,
would have
sir.
enjoyed.
Is there any
Yes.
one, Mr. Rajasundaram, he asked, is there any minimum area required to build collapsible or makeshift structures?
No. So for example, if you need some collapsible unit, need cranes to open the building, cranes to unfold it. In such time, we need some spaces to accommodate cranes. For example, in some locations where you can't use cranes or you can't use any other external equipment to unfold your mechanisms. So there we have to choose our own typical structure. Like for example, I have shown you as last I have shown you a small video where we need only humans to fold and unfold it. Whereas some building requires crane to lift it. So according to the area space availability, we have to choose the shelters. We can't choose a shelter and then we can go for area. According to the area availability, for example, if I'm going to a area where I can't have much more open spaces. In such circumstances, I can't bring the instruments. I can take only the lorry or I can take only the truck. There, I can use the roof of any buildings to use these kind of temporary shelters, and it should be openable or it should be unfoldable by humans, only humans, or by using some jacks, screw jacks or hydraulic jacks to unfold it instead of using equipments, instead of using cranes. Those kind of structures to be chosen by us according to the area availability. There are no restricted area. Again, I'm telling you, it's up to your convenience. If you need 10 feet by 10 feet, you can choose certain shelters, or you have limited shelters, limited space for shelter. You can use certain type of shelter procedures to use in your locality. It's up to you. It's completely up to the person who need the shelters. With respect to their availability of area, we can choose the type of shelters. There are no limitations.
Another question from Ms. Sarika. Which type
Yes.
of soil can bear this type of structure?
See, that's why I'm telling you. For example, recently we have faced flooding in Uttarakhand 2-3 years before. Would have heard about it. That time, entire many structures in the hilly region has been completely vanished because of flood. That Himalayan, that's actually Himalayan mountain regions. There you can't find very stable soils. Okay, and some locations may have loosey soils, loose soil strata, or some things we may have rocky surfaces. Somewhere we may have clay. So that doesn't matter. Seriously doesn't matter. Accordingly, we have to choose. For example, in the loose soil strata, you can't keep container structures, but you can keep tent kind of structures made out of small steel frames. So it's up to you. With respect to the soil strata, again we have to choose, because if you have a loose soil strata and it is a slopy area, there I can't keep. It's very difficult to keep container structures. But in the slopy area, I can make some tent kind of structures using different type of steel units or aluminum units or local available materials made from plastics or wooden materials. So again, it's up to us. There are no defined soil mechanism, or we may have another options. We do have in CBRI, we have developed some anchoring mechanisms and foundation mechanism by our geotechnical divisions. There, they have different type of anchoring mechanisms for different type of soils. For loosey soil, for clay soil, we can go for this kind of mechanism. We can adapt those mechanisms. That is a very simple mechanism and can be used for any type of temporary structures.
there any other queries from the participants? No. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for
Thank you so much for the opportunity you have given to me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The thing is, a very short time in very short period you have accepted our invitation. That too in this COVID pandemic period. I knew that you are still working in Sunday, Saturday, in all the days in 24/7 in your lab as well as in your research field. So we took some 2-3 hours. We have taken your valuable time in this. Sorry for this, but anyway, it is very
It's my
useful
pleasure
for
to
us.
deliver certain kind of lectures so that many students will have some idea, because students are generally reading books and they are very sophisticated with conventional things. They should know all this kind of available, because it has a lot of scopes, lot of markets, lot of startups can be opened using this kind of technologies, and you can procure the technology from any research institutes, and you can make your own startups, and you can make these kind of temporary structures anywhere, wherever is required, you can make it. So it's a wonderful opportunity for me to deliver such kind of ideas to the younger generations.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Too many participants are giving a very good comment, like very nice presentation and
Thank you
very
for that.
important presentation. Everything in the chat box is completely fed up with all positive comments, as well as in
Thank you so much. Thank you so
800
much for the
around
participants.
800 plus participants are viewing this session, sir. We are also very happy to invite you. So I thank all the participants also for spending the time and along with your cooperation. Thank you. So tomorrow we are having another session, that is day 5. So day 5, the session will be delivered by Dr. Ravi Prakash from NIT Warangal in the area of fire safety structures.
Okay.
Thank you all. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much once again all to all the viewers.
Participants,
Yes.
thank you, sir. Thank you. Participants, I request you to fill the feedback within 2 p.m. The response will be closed at 2 p.m. for your kind information.
Once again repeating, all the participants are requested to fill the feedback form before 2 p.m. And regarding the certificates, when the tech webinar series 2 gets over, the certificates will be delivered to your respective mail. Hope you registered, all of you registered. So to your respective mail ID, the
Hello, ma'am. Cannot share the link in YouTube live.
Ayush,
Actually, I am listening in YouTube, so please share a feedback link in YouTube also, ma'am.
It will be sent to
Ayush,
your
the
mail.
feedback.
Yes, ma'am.
It will be sent to your mail.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
You have registered, no? It will be sent to your mail. Thank you, one and all.
Okay.
Sujita ma'am, we can put off the session.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you everyone for attending the session. Thank you all. We shall all meet tomorrow. Have a nice day.